Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners. This is Comesa Radio Africa. The mind, the journey, the destiny. We apply our mind to the journey that takes us to our destiny. That is our philosophy. It's about a plugged and active mind, sharing mind, futuristic mind, and inquiring mind. The journey is about enthusiastically promoting our ideas, giving as we learn, retaining our earnings and learnings, and searching for new opportunities. The destiny is about productivity and profitability, social responsibility and caring for each other, ensuring growth and sustainability, and making sure that there's a continuous renewal and survival of our beings. We inform and entertain, we develop and educate, we empower and support, we associate and network. That is the idea. We are a business and professional management services 24/7 internet streaming radio station. We broadcast music and talk shows across the world. Our objective is to use the African storytelling and Lekgotla conversation methodology in offering career coaching, education and learning guidance, continuous professional development, enterprise and entrepreneurship development, and connecting supply to demand. Our talk shows aim to affirm and support business professionals and entrepreneurs in their personal and professional journey of bringing difference to the world. These are talk shows that recognize excellence and greatness. Professionals and entrepreneurs are invited as a recognition of great contribution they are making or they've made to humanity. My name is Sam Zima. I am a CEO and a business executive coach at Comesa GOC International. You may visit our website at www.comesa-goc.com. I want at this point to welcome my brother, our guest, Ndade Abe Thebyane.
Hey, Dr. Sam. Yeah, you pronounce it Thebyane.
Thebyane.
Yeah, Thebyane, yeah.
Look at that. You and I, we have known each other for ages, and I'm still pronouncing your surname wrong.
Yeah.
The Thebyanes will not be happy with me.
No, they will not be happy with you.
But you are here to correct it, and that's a beautiful part about it. Yeah, have you been keeping very well under the circumstances?
Yes, Sam. It has not been easy, but we've been keeping safe, under these crazy times that we live in.
And we still don't know what it brings to us at the end of it, yeah?
No, we have no clue, Sam. We have no clue. My greatest fear is that we'll get to the end of this thing and look back and say, wow, what was all the fuss about? I hope we're not going to get to that point.
Like all other outbreaks, if you look at it, the world has always been shaken in one way or another. But life continued, isn't it?
No, life continues, But, and everything in hindsight looks to be not as bad as it was when you were experiencing it. So,
yeah, we are adaptable as human beings.
Yeah.
I'm very glad that you accepted my invitation to come and be my conversation partner on the Comesa Radio Africa. One objective of this is to let people get to know people like yourself a little bit much more at the personal level rather than at the professional level. And I'm sure your story is an exciting one. I suspect so because I've been in touch with you since ever for many years, and we are going to touch on that as well. But perhaps let's just start by introducing you in detail. Where were you born, and what are your full names, and who are the Thebyanes, and where are they originating from?
Okay, so my full names are Abraham Makwadi Thebyane. I was born in a mining town or mining village, in Grootvlei, just a few kilometers outside of Heidelberg in Mpumalanga. There is a coal mine there called Springfield Collieries. It is closed now, so that is where I was born. It is at that mine that my grandfather worked at that mine, my father worked at the mine, and some of my relatives worked at that mine.
Wow.
But the Thebyane are people from the northwest originally. Speaking to my grandfather, he would say, look, we come from the Magaliesberg area. So we are the Khatlas, the Khatla.
Oh, the Bakhatla.
Northwest, the Bakhatla, Bako Northwest. So if you go to places like Bobrule, you'd find the Thebyanes there. You go to Mulatedi in Northwest, you'd find the Thebyanes there. But my grandfather came to the mines many, many years ago. So many of us, we grew up, not closely connected to our origins, in the Northwest, which is a pity. So that's where I was born, in Grootvlei.
And tell me, how many siblings do you have?
I've got 5 siblings, so we are 6 at home. I'm the second born of a family of 6, 3 brothers, 3 sisters, but one of our sisters passed away recently. In fact, this year, around about March or so. Oh
no, condolences. May his soul rest in peace. And the parents?
My father passed away when I was 9 years old. My mother is still alive. She's remarried, so we've got a stepdad. And both of them. My mother is in her 80s now, so they're still around.
That's a blessing to at least have one of them still around.
Yes.
When you feel challenged, you know that you can go to mommy and say, "Man, I don't understand this."
Definitely.
Yeah, wonderful. And the other siblings are they doing well? Are they progressing well in life?
Yeah, the other siblings are doing well. They've professional people in their own rights.
So that mining town, I have no idea what it means growing up in a mining town. I can relate to people say I grew up in the farm, but I wonder what you do as a youngster in a mining town, growing up.
I mean, Sam, mining in those days was probably completely different to what it is today. It was a coal mine. Coal was in abundance in that mine. So most of the mines, and I believe Springfield Korea is in the same category, were doing extremely well. So we grew in an environment of unimaginable abundance. Electricity, running water, from the get-go. I was born in 1960. My parents lived in that mine before the 60s, and they had electricity, running water, facilities, amenities. So it was an environment of abundance, very safe environment, open spaces. As young people, we could go anywhere, play anywhere. So, when people ask and say, how was your growing up environment like? It feels like a protected environment where everything was just there. Mining, it was funny. Every day or a number of days, you would go and be given food from the mine compounds because we were in what they call the merit quotas.
Yes.
So an environment of abundance. I feel that my growing up environment was truly blessed.
Yeah. And do you still have some friends that you grew up with in that mine? In that mining town?
Even though the mine is closed, but there are still people who are still living there who bought the houses that they were occupying freely from the mine when the mine was closing down. And I still have contact with them, so I still keep in touch with them. they still tell me so-and-so has passed away. If I have time, I go down to a funeral. If I'm trying to work on some projects that I think would benefit some of them, I do speak to them. So I have when you ask me, where is your home, I would say Grootfontein is my home. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. And how was the schooling? Did the mine also provide schools for the children of the mine workers?
Yeah, there was school, but up to primary only. So when you had to go to high school or so, people moved out of the areas into the urban areas. But there was free schooling from grade 0 up to primary. Yeah.
The mining communities tend to attract people from all over the world. So what sort of culture is there? It must be very diverse, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, you had people from all over the world, you're right. We had people from Lesotho, Mozambique, Botswana, everywhere. I mean, one of this, as much as I do, I think one of the greatest problems we created in South Africa is that we tended to import unskilled and semi-skilled people.
Yes.
Because of the nature of mining operations. So we imported people from outside of South Africa to come and work because those jobs required semi and unskilled people. So even though in terms of importing skills, we did that, but as a country we did not benefit that much because those were lower level skills.
Yeah.
But I mean, the mines took great pains to recognize the diversity amongst its workforce. We had things, traditional dancing ceremonies where people would showcase, their traditions. So yeah, the mine.
On Saturdays, I can imagine it became like a show day.
It became like a show, yeah. Mainly on Sundays, and you'd have traditional dancing competitions, and we would go and watch as young people. Would enjoy those very much. It was quite a nice environment to grow in.
Something very much similar to what used to happen around the hostels in the townships.
Yes, that kind of situation.
Yeah. Wow. And then, so after leaving, obviously you had to leave that mining primary school when you finished to go to more advanced schools. Did you have to leave town? I mean, did you have to leave?
I mean, because of the school situation, I had to leave Grootfontein. My parents were still there. My grandparents were still there. My father had passed away. My mom had to vacate the house. My mom is from Tembisa, so she came back, to the East Rand. So I went to live with my aunt in Mohlakeng in Randfontein, and I continued with my high school, high primary education in Randfontein. I completed my standard 6. Then I'm one of those people. I'm sure you did standard 6 as well, Sam.
Yes.
And then I moved on to do my high school education at a boarding school in Zerast, Mutswedi High School. Yeah.
Wow.
So I also have contact with my relatives in the Randfontein, Mohlakeng area. Yes.
Living from the East Rand to Mohlakeng, that was like a great trek, man. and it sounds like it was from a mining town to another mining town, right?
Well, Randfontein has got a lot of mines surrounding it, but Mohlakeng is a typical location. So, and you had people who worked in the mines, but you had the vast majority of people who worked in the factories in the Randfontein CBD area. So it did not feel like a mining town like, Grootfontein was.
And the adjustment, how was it? Did you miss your mining town?
Yeah, the adjustment was not easy. It was difficult. One of the things I had challenged with was language. In Grootfontein we spoke Sotho, Zulu, Shangaan and the like. Mohlakeng, the predominant language is Tswana. Even though I'm a Tswana speaking person, but I grew up speaking Zulu, funny enough, and Sotho.
Yeah.
So when I got to Mutlakeng as a young boy, I was bullied, and people laughed at me because they used to call me Soto boy.
And you never get to stay with your mom in Tembisa?
Not on a full-time basis. My connection with Tembisa, to be honest, started being strong after university, and I stayed for a few months whilst I was, waiting for formal employment. And as soon as I got employment, I was off again. I started staying in Tembisa full-time in late in my career when I was at Envirotech Pty Limited. By then I had my own house, and
Wow, beautiful. Let's go to your high schools. I always want to know how people decided on the combination of subjects and what those subjects led to post the high school. Some of us, we were just told by the school, you are at the school where these are the courses, subjects that are taught, you have no choice. Others, we are lucky to have had parents who had a vision and then say, listen, I want you to take these subjects because I think they're going to help you. And what was the situation with you?
Yeah, Sam, I remember distinctly when maths and science came into that high school. At Form 1, as we called it then, you did, various things. And when we got to Standard 8, it was then said, okay, now you guys need to start specializing in terms of your streams. You guys would go into math, science, and, biology. You guys would do functional maths, history, and the like. And funny enough, I was chosen to go and do maths because people thought I was one of the intelligent
scholars
in that school, but I refused. And one of the things I refused is that the guy who was going to teach maths and science, when I looked at him, I was like, you know what? This man is going to kill me, or I'm going to kill him.
You didn't like him?
No, I really didn't like him. I really didn't like him, and I was like, you know what? I'm not sure I'm good at this maths thing, so let me not take a chance, especially with this guy. So I'm going to do functional maths.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, he came to teach functional maths, but it wasn't such a risky thing as pure maths for me, And to give you an example, I remember he gave us a test, which we did. And I was like the top student, 98%, and he was upset with me because he was like, you should have gotten 100%. You missed this thing, and and by then you know what school was. And you have been beaten. Can you imagine you've been beaten
for 2%?
For 2%, and I was like, you see, this guy, I'm glad I'm not doing maths. Because when it was math time, those guys who were doing maths will leave our class and go to the lab, and he will teach them maths in the lab, and we would hear what's going on. And I tell you, the poor guys were beaten every day.
Oh my goodness!
And that's why I said, no, this man is going to kill me, or I'm going to kill him. So I don't want to go.
It's so interesting when we reflect on those days, how we associated subjects with the teachers. How people will actually hate subjects because of a particular teacher.
Because of the teacher, and it's a pity because some of us maybe we did not follow the true careers we're supposed to follow because we were like, no, if that guy is teaching that subject, I'm not going there.
But also, I guess, as a feedback to educators out there, I'm sure we are saying the obvious that there is value in the teachers of particular subjects to brand themselves in a positive light in front of the students.
Yeah.
So that you can't separate the teacher from the subject is teaching.
Yeah, no, if as a teacher you can't make students to fall in love with the subject in the manner that you teach the subject, in the manner that you relate to them, then what are you doing as a teacher?
Absolutely. And I still have those vivid memories of those teachers who were prominent or were famous for beating the hell out of you.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, those were those days. But things have changed since then. And so just remind me again. You said you went to high school in Zeerast.
I went to high school in Zeerast, at Motswedi, the
Yeah.
village called Motswedi. That's where Ntate Mangope, it is Ntate Mangope's village, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's Motswedi High School, yeah.
Was it a boarding school?
It was a boarding school.
Yeah. How did you come to choose such a school that far?
I mean, it was, I must tell you, I didn't even know the school. It just happened because when I was doing Standard 6, the marks were good, and my principal came to me one day and said, Abe, you've got a bursary to go and study at Motswedi High School, government bursary or Department of Education bursary, I can't remember. And I was like, oh, thank you.
And that was from Botswana government then? Or was it national?
No, it was, no, I think it was Botswana, you're quite right.
Yeah.
It was during the Botswana administration there.
Yeah. And then so you went into your was it all the standards from
until matric. Yeah.
And I guess now boarding school is another life. I still have those beautiful memories of being at the boarding school in high school. It's
I mean it's a fantastic life, some boarding school. But I mean, when we started, we had families. One had to have a choice. Would I send my children to a boarding school or not? Even though I enjoyed my boarding school years,
we have become too possessive. Our parents were not like that.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not sending my kids there.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that Thebyane, it's actually quite interesting because in those days people were taken care of even by strangers. So for parents to send us away to boarding schools, they knew that the people will look after you.
Yeah.
Today, I guess we're very scared. We wonder what are the things that they're going to be exposed
they're
to.
going to do. Yeah. Yeah. No, at least things were different then.
And how did we perform then in high school?
Yeah, relatively well, Sam. Relatively well. So, by the time one got to matric, one had some confidence that I can go to university and manage and manage to perform. Yeah. So I did relatively well.
And at that time, were you clear as to what career direction or what post-matric studies were you going to take?
Yeah, I think very early on, I sort of settled in my own mind about the choice. I had two choices, to be honest. I had law and I had HR in mind. When I was at Standard 8 already, I remember, principal used to teach us history, and he would have a conversation with the whole class from time to time and say, so when you finish matric, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I was like, I am going to university. What are you going to do? Well, I would say I'm going to do law. Second choice is something in an HR stream. Yeah.
Yeah. And were you having enough options in terms of which universities to apply to? Or were they informing you?
Sam, when we were growing up, that if you are Sotho-Tswana, you're sort of Sovenga was your the first choice that came to mind. So, like most people, I was like, okay, many people I know and Sovenga, so let's go to TEFLOP.
Yeah.
I applied to TEFLOP, and fortunately for me, I was accepted. Yeah.
You're from TEFLOP.
I'm from TEFLOP.
The TEFLOP alumni must be one of the biggest, yeah?
Eh?
The TEFLOP alumni must be one of the biggest.
Yeah, now they do it.
Yeah.
Many people who studied at TEFLOP.
Yeah, wonderful. Great stuff. So thank you for that background. And when we come back, I want us then to look at what happens at the university and and how did we do, and what career did it prepare us for? So you said that you went to study for HR, or what was it?
Yeah, so I when you get to university, the first day or so, you go into registration. So we're on a registration line. We're talking with people who came from same school, some people who came from areas, so we know each other. Some we meet on the line. We are talking and we are asking each other, so what are you going to do? And I said, no, I want to do BProc law.
Yeah.
And somebody looked at me and said, be careful, those kind of courses, you're not likely to get a bursary for. And I was like, okay, in that case, I'm going to do HR.
Yeah, a lot of decisions are taken in that queue.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I changed on the queue, and I was like, okay, I'm doing HR. So I enrolled for a degree.
Wonderful. When we come back, we're going to take it further from there. I'll be back.
Yeah.